Hello, everyone. This is Pop Culture Guy. Uh, this is the second horror retrospective review, which is great because this is on my one of my favorite and personal horror films of all time. 28 Days Later. 28 Days Later is one of my favorite personal horror film for me. It's the film that got me into horror for good. It showed me how horror can be a character-driven film plus have a serious tone, but also have some funny moments in the right way that has themes, interesting characters, plus a great direction from one of the best directors we have today, Danny Boyle. Then you have a truly classic film in your hands. Now, for this reason why I'm reviewing this film is that it was released in 2002, so I think it'll be appropriate for now to get this 20th anniversary special off in a great start by reviewing it. This year is the 20th anniversary for Danny Boyle's Lo-Fi Zombie plus Wonder 28 Days Later. It made its it made its way to theaters in England, of course, in 2002, and interesting. Of course, it came later in America in 2003. So I hope people can understand why I'm doing this now, and then wait for another year. Now, what makes this film really great, I think, is the English horror film have no overt references to current events, or in this case, it has very much references to current events that was going on back in 2002. In fact, it went into production before these events occur, like 9/11 and pretty much the Bush administration attack on the Iraq stuff was not yet happened. But its themes and aesthetic captured this prevailing mood that the end was extremely nigh or high. And if that held true in 2002, its apocalyptic overtones feel even more present today, especially with COVID-19 and the pandemic. Now, the film's social commentary comes into full view in its latter half, when the remaining survivors are pushed by the soldiers. They're pretty much the antagonists of the film instead of the infected. They thought it could be their salvation, having followed a radio signal advertising safety and the answer to infection. The main characters discover the answer is military rule and uh, pardon my French, sexual slavery for the sake of procreation, which is crazy. Now, I think what was scary with the film's tones is that the idea that the soldiers represent the safety is in line with the view that civilization is a structure that protects mankind from their baser impulses with force. As we see in the transformation of our protagonist, Jim, of course played by wonderfully by Cillian Murphy, whose attack on the soldier is captured with the head-spinning camera work otherwise reserved for the infected. The rage, the rageful impulse has less to do with the man's basest nature than uh, a a uh, a positive state that presents itself in in opposition to the humanity. After their escape, the three survivors find true salvation in each other by themselves, which is good. Danny Boyle's depiction of a virus that swiftly, how you say, deteriorates the infrastructure hits differently after the devastation world by COVID-19 of this year. But the same could be said for any film about a pandemic. What makes 28 Days There unique in any horror film or zombie film, if you want to have that debate, it's its prologue, which highlights the strained social fabric that makes room for the destruction to come. In the film, the virus is literally caused by a prolonged exposure to social violence and military explosion, which I didn't notice that in my first viewing. It was a couple of times that I realized how the virus or the rage virus came to be. Our rage keeps us from seeing the humanity in one another. And 28 Days Later captures this in all its horror perfectly. Where the film becomes especially fascinating and interesting for me from its perspective is in its final act. Earlier in the film, Celia, of course, played by wonderfully by Naomie Harris of Miss Moneypenny from the recent Daniel Craig Bond films. Celia tells Jim that if she thought he was affected, she could kill him in a heartbeat. This is put in the test when Jin has been pushed too far by the soldiers and goes on a killing spree. By the time he reaches Celine and brutally kills her captors, she has no way of knowing if he has been infected. Yet, she hesitates. In the film's most powerful moment, Jim tells her, she waited longer than a heartbeat, and the two embrace. In this sequence, Jim has become indistinguishable from the not really undead um, folks of the infected. He and Celine have been battling, but where their rage is as tartless and general is his justified. The ending suggests that the rage itself is not the problem. The rage is a rational response to the world that surrounds us. The question is where and how is it direct? In this case, to wrap up this review of 28 Days Later, I hope you guys enjoyed this, is I think 28 Days Later is an amazing film. It truly revitalized the zombie genre, despite this film really doesn't have any of the zombie tropes, and of course made fan zombies popular after the release of this film, and of course made some of these cast members famous. Of course, made Cillian Murphy a household name in Hollywood. Of course, after this, he gets, of course, Batman Begins, who plays the main, well, the secondary antagonist after Rachel Gould, Scarecrow, and of course, Naomie Harris becomes very household name as well. Of course, I mentioned her role in Miss Moneypenny in the James Bond films, and of course, you got Danny Boyle, and I think this film definitely cemented Danny Boyle as one of the most truly inspirational and bold and creative directors in Hollywood. In this case, I think is this film is an A+ horror film, and I highly recommend watching this in your Halloween season and every year. Bye. And I want to say bye. Have a great Halloween season, everyone, and be safe. And of course, don't let those infected catch you. Bye.